guys, Adam here, Blackfyre Productions. As you know, I am your channel host, and I am back with another Road to Conquest, which is part of our greater Sagas of Conquest segment here on the channel. So this is week 3 of my Conquest videos. The first week was basically a bunch of unboxing. That second week, a little bit of showing off what I was working on, as well as some more unboxings. And then now we're into week 3, which I have a bunch of stuff painted that I painted over last week and a bit, as well as built up some stuff, and I have a new purchase here beside me as well. So without further ado, let's get you into what I've worked on over this last week or so. It's probably been about 10 days, so almost a week and a half since I filmed the last video, and so I've built a whole bunch of stuff and painted and everything else. So without further ado, let's jump right into the rest of the video. So here we are with my stuff that I've currently built over this last 10 days approximately, that I haven't finished painting yet and are literally just primed. So currently what I have in front of me is a minimum 3-stand unit or regiment, sorry, of Ogres, which are really super easy to put together. But yeah, I tried to give them all, like, you know, heavy looking weapons, well, this guy with his spikes and everything else. But yeah, so we got those 3 guys put together. This was their older style of plastics. As if you watch the video, you'll see the difference between those plastics and the plastics with the new trolls and such. It's just night and day difference, and it was a pleasure to work with when building the trolls, which you'll see here shortly, because I actually have finished painting those guys up. But yeah, so that is my unit of Ogres. I think it's Ogres, I'm not sure. But they're basically Ogres, but with a U in front of it. Gonna be super easy to paint up. Basically, I'm gonna do my browns, which instead of using like a orangish brown, I just went with straight. I think it was Steel Legion drab for like the leathers and stuff by the time I do all my weathering and everything. And then I did my metallics, and then the skin on these guys will be blue. I'm thinking I prime them pale blue, and I'll probably give them a blue wash and then do like a highlight. So I think it's like Dragonhof Nightshade or something like that is what I'm doing on these ones. So I've done a different skin tone on my trolls, which I'll show you once I get into my painted stuff. But this stuff here, I think I'll do like a darker blue, and maybe I'll give them like a little bit of a flesh tone towards like the midriff or something like that, and do some blending. I'm not sure yet, but that's what I'm thinking of doing with those guys. Yeah, so it's gonna be a lot of leathers on these guys, some furs, and then yeah, going from there. So it's not going to be a ton of colors, and it allows me to paint these guys a lot quicker. Plus, I'm not super concerned with how clean they are, because I want them to look dirty and gritty, as long as it's not like, you know, the arm is painted one shade halfway up, unless it's intended, like I said, when I do the blending. So also did a 3-stand regiment of Raiders, put those guys together. I was gonna start painting up a couple of test ones with the Steel Legion drab is already put on there, and then the actual shirt and fur I'll leave gray. The pants I'll probably do the turquoise green to sort of like blend it in with or match the other colors that I have on the rest of my painted stuff. So, and then the metallics and stuff like that, and then the skin after I do all the weathering and that, because that's the last thing I do, because I don't want the weather bleeding into the rest of the models. So that's what it's going to look like. But yeah, I built those guys up. I think I have a second unit of both Ogres and Raiders that I purchased from one of the local shops here in Canada, in Ontario specifically. And I definitely am going to need those 2 units for a 2,000 point last Argument of Kings version of the game for the regiment there. But I think for a skirmish, these guys will do. And I almost would say that I almost have enough guys for the skirmish game painted up. Actually, I'd be pretty close to 800 points, I think, if I used max just these units here. But yeah, texture, the detail in these guys went together pretty well, pretty super fine. I love the standard bear that these guys just ad hoc throw together. I also built up a couple of characters. I guess one is a unit upgrade and the other one is a character, being the Jarl, which I'll probably end up painting next. And the reason why I say that is because to get these raiders in, I need to have the Jarl. So I primed him. We're going to have to retouch up the priming because I actually missed a spot there, which I saw after the fact. But yeah, so the Jarl looks fantastic, especially with like the display piece that he's standing on and everything else. I just absolutely love it. And there's so much texture and detail in this guy. It's going to look great. So he's probably going to be painted up next is what I'm thinking. So, and then I have the shield biter here as well. And the shield biter is absolutely a phenomenal piece again. You can see it sort of right there. Now I did on mine, he has a piece of hair that attaches to the back of the head, and I left it off to just give him the mohawk that he has on top, and I just green stuffed the headband around and filled the hole that it connects into. But like, yeah, such a cool piece. I love the display bits with like the spear sticking out of the ground, the other broken half of the pole portion sticking out as well, and the sword and everything else. So and then it gives you some like runic details and stuff that you can do there. This guy's going to be a lot more metallic, I guess, compared to the other guys, which is a lot of leather, because they're a lot lighter of units and such. But yeah, so those are the guys that I have built and have not fully painted yet. I'm hoping to get those guys, at least the Jarl and the Raiders, and then I'll probably do the Shield Biter because he can go with the Raiders next week. So the front guys will be the first few that I paint up. But without further ado, let's move these guys off the screen and get into my painted stuff that I've actually finished. Super excited for this stuff, so let's show you next. And here we are with everything that I have painted. Now, not all this stuff have I painted over the last 10 days. Like, I had the Shaman already painted, and I have had 4 of my Stalkers already painted as well. But since then, I've painted up the rest of the stands of the Stalkers, as well as my Trolls here in the background. And then I also painted up my first Blooded right there. So I showed you the Stalkers already, so like there's no big surprise with that. And like, you know what they look like already, so like that's them basically, right? So a lot of browns, a little bit of teal, some grays, and then the bases. And again, if you guys have any questions as to how I painted these guys, feel free to ask below, and I'll try to give you a write-up on how I painted them. So yeah, so those were the Stalkers. Let's take a look at the Trolls. I absolutely love these Trolls. The characters that they have in there, that each of them have, such like that, and the details, fantastic. The plastic was, like I said, a pleasure to work with, and was leaps and bounds better than the first stuff that I picked up. So kudos to Parabellum Games, War Games, for that. So there's 2 different, so I got my unit leader here. I did him with the bloody bone sticking out of his arm. So the idea behind the Trolls were basically a lot of bone and a lot of wood, and then some leathers and stuff like that. So, and then some stone. So I primed them the pale blue, the same as the ogres that you saw earlier. And then for this guy here, he was a contrast paint over the pale blue, thinned down. It was Pterodon turquoise, I believe is what the color is called. And then I used, what is the purple contrast paint, again, thinned down to give some discoloring to various areas on them. The teeth was Talaran sand, I think it is, and then added some wraithbone to give it a little white tips. Red hair was a little bit of corn red mixed with Fire Slayer. I think it's Fire Slayer orange or Troll Slayer orange, something like that. And then the stone was, I think, just Dawn Stone, and then with the weathering really darkened it down and stuff, and then I had some highlights with the blue, and then the cloth on the side there, like the fabric and such, that was Carrick Stone. And then Dawnstone again for the wood with a brown and green wash over it and the weathering and everything else. But yeah, so Pterodon, turquoise for that skin tone, and then yeah, with the other guys, that is Talisar blue contrast paint. And again, I did the same thing with the purple weathering and stuff, except for some of them, instead of using the purple contrast paint, I used just the purple wash, which is like Druchii Violet from Games Workshop. This is what I have in stock. And you can see here like the weathering on the skulls as well as the bone weapon. Again, I tried to make it all sort of like bone, and instead of like being clean, being dirty and stuff like that. So it's not just pure bone white. Same with the metallics on his head and everything else. Because again, I'm trying to go for that whole grim dark feel. So yeah, so I painted up those guys. That's the entire box of trolls, entire box of stalkers. And then I finished this guy this morning. So my blooded, where'd he go? There he is. Started painting him up last night and then finished him this morning. Let's see how if I can get a close up here of him. There you go. I did some war paint on the face just over his eye, and that's just Thunderhawk blue. Again, teal color, that's sort of like the color of choice for my guys. And the same style of painting that I did with everybody else, which is that grimdark sort of reductive style. A lot of Steel Legion drab with some weathering and stuff on it. And dirtying it up, and then the hair and everything. So, but yeah, so that is the blooded that I used. Skin tone was Kislev flesh, and then eventually mixed it with flayed one flesh to lighten it up. And it was just added more and more of the flayed one flesh, and then did a contrast paint with the Gilliman flesh. I think contrast paint is it, and then and I just did like a recess wash after really thinning it down, and then added some red wash to the recesses to warm it up, and then on the undersides you can see that I was doing some blue. That blue sort of makes it a little bit dirtier looking, a little bit rougher and stuff like that. But yeah, so that is the blooded. He was definitely a fun character to paint up. You can see I did some jewels there, and that was just basically Stormhost silver, given a wash, black wash on one side, feathered it off with some watered down water on the tip of my brush, and then went over it with Talisar blue. And then the black side, what I did is added a little bit of the Pterodon turquoise contrast paint just to darken it up, because it wasn't dark enough for my liking. But yeah, so that's the gems that I put on there. But yeah, so I think I really do like that blooded character. He looks fantastic in that. But I'm super excited for what I picked up from Torchlight Games, Games and Hobbies here in Ontario. And that is the Founders Exclusive Nords Raid diorama. So I'll move these guys away and let's open this box up and see what's on the inside. That's actually a little bit of a lie. I also am going to show you guys the stands that I have been painting up. Which shows you, I think, in closer detail the bases, because the bases are done the exact same way as the stands. So those are the stands that I'm painting up. It's a Vallejo Diorama effects. I mixed two colors together. There's like a more rooty sort of swampy black color with a sandy gray color. Put those down as the base. And then let it dry, give it a blue wash, and then it is a dark blue, Thunderhawk blue. I can't remember what the dark blue is, but it's like a Thunderhawk blue afterwards, and then mixing some gray sear into the Thunderhawk blue for the final highlights. And then I take the third Vallejo Diorama effects, which is the snow effects, and add that on into spot areas, and then add on the tufts that match the tufts on the base. So these are gamer grass tufts. I think it's like alien turquoise. You can really see the theme in the colors that I'm going with to pull everything together, and that is the turquoise color, teal turquoise. But yeah, so that's what I want to show you. And now I'll pull out the Raids box and we'll do an unboxing of that. Here we are with the Founders Exclusive Raid box, Nord's Diorama for Conquest. I saw this, I was eyeing it up, so I was looking around for one of these because they have like an alt-blooded character as well as retinue inside here. So there's 4 models as well as the diorama display piece. I was, like I said, I saw it I saw it on the Torchlight Games and Hobbies website when I was searching for one. And I sat on it for probably a week with it in my cart, sort of debating if I was going to buy it or not. And I think they only had one at the time of these. So I jumped on it. Maybe they might have more, I'm not sure, but I thought there was only one. But I jumped on it just because there are those retinue and the alternative sculpt for the blooded in here. So let's open this up. Well, let's look at the box first off. You see the silver sort of inlay on here, as well as the reflective black ones with all the different faction symbols. You can see on the side the Conquest here. It is actually a very nice box. Conquest symbol there as well. And then the name. So very nice box. The bottom has nothing on it, just pitch black. So you open that up and you have your sort of certification of authenticity. These are limited numbers, so let's open that up. So that's the card there. You can see that I have limited edition 117 of 250. It has the dimensions of the displays and of the display base, as well as the date it was released on. But yeah, so it is official. I did pick it up, so you got your phone protecting it in there. You have all your different bases. I'm going to open these up. I haven't opened them up yet because I wanted to get enough stuff painted and put together that I can hopefully start playing a game shortly. And so I thought I would sort of hold off and start working on the troops that I'm going to need, or the regiments. Oh man, I can't get into this. Terrible, terrible. I am like lost for where the seal is on this sucker. I'll find it. There we go. Just don't want to wreck these things. Aha! There we go. Different bases. So you have your stone base here that you can see. Plugs in. Sorry for all that plastic noise. I couldn't get into them. Really do enjoy these resin models that Parabellum have here. And these bases are looking decent. Definitely are going to give me a lot of things that I can work with. Obviously adding the snow to it and maybe some extra texture and depth in areas. You can see the skull there and stuff. Really cool. Really, really cool. And then this one as well. There you go. Those are the bases. We'll go into the characters later on. So I'm just going to pull them out and put them behind there. You got yourself another foam insert to sort of help protect the actual base. These are some pieces. Here we go. This one opened up so much easier. These are some pieces that attach to the diorama. So you have your wooden palisade, almost spikes. right there. A lot of texture, wood grains, stuff like that in there, which is awesome. And then you have almost like your longship style front. I don't even know what you would call it, but it's like the decorative piece that sort of shows who you are and the affiliation that you are. But then the dial piece itself, you can see the runestones in the back, everything else. Yeah, I'm definitely going to add, I think, some extra texture onto this, just sort of match like this stuff here. Definitely with the snow and everything too, but yeah. So you can see the long ship that's been buried by the looks of it on the side there, and then the inserts. So yeah, solid. The only thing, let's move that out of the way, I was hoping that this was usable as a like a unit stand. It's a slightly big difference though between the two, because I honestly thought I could use it, but then it doesn't make sense because all the extra stuff on there is just, it couldn't all fit on a stand like this. So what I'll do is I'll just take the characters off of this when I'm not displaying them on that and put them into a regular stand, one of my extras. But yeah, so there's that stand. Let's grab one of the characters here. So this is a standard bear, so it could be like a retinue, and it could represent like your character having in my case one of the troves, which is like I think it's like the Raven standard. Is that what it's called? They have a few other options, stuff like that. So you got this guy here. Can you see that? There we go. Love it. Lots of lots of play area and play space on his body there. So like maybe I'll do like a tattoo along his sort of like a whole sleeve. I don't know. I don't even know what I would do tattoo wise, but I might try my hand at it, you know, with some extra freehand in that. But yeah, so that's the guy. That's the pole to the standard, and then you have the actual flag and the actual banner part right there, like so. Yeah, looking awesome, loving that. And then obviously his weapon too, can't forget his weapon, the axe there, fantastic. So that's that one. Let's see, who else do I have here? This is another one of the retinue models. Yeah, I'm gonna love getting into this eventually. So you can see the sculpt there, the dreads and the hair and everything. If it will focus, there we go. You can see the dreads and everything, all the details, and in the leather, all that stuff in there. Nice wooden shield with the symbols on there, the different runes and such, and then she's equipped with the scabbard right there. There you go, and then the sword as well. And then you have some kneeling guy. I don't know, he's gonna be somebody, but he looks pretty cool too. I think my favorite two out of this is probably the guy with the standard and the girl that I just showed you. The blooded looks fantastic too. Well, they all look fantastic. I just mean, like, if I had to choose out of them, those would probably be the ones. So this guy here, he's almost, I don't know, he almost reminds me of like a feral, sort of like werewolf-y type guy. So cool though. He has his bow. You can see all the knots and everything else in there. The gnarled wood in his hand there with all the, there we go, the leather and such. So I'm gonna put that aside. So in the photo it shows that he sits up here, the blooded sits there, the other girl sits here, and the standard back there, and obviously the other bits go into that side there. Let's show you the blooded. I think this is going to be awesome, and once I have her painted up, this will probably be the blooded that I use most of the time, just because it's an alternate one, and I really do enjoy it. So, trying to keep them all separated here. into piles. Can you see that? Right? How close can I get without losing focus here? There you go. Screaming, running towards her opponents, you know, wanting to, you know, give way to, or abandon her senses to, you know, slaughter and mayhem and everything else as she's running towards her opponent. So yeah, lots of intricate work with the loops there and the woven leather strands by the looks of it. That's pretty cool. Oh, this is gonna be so much fun to paint. Yeah, but yeah, that is the Dio piece. Oh, and her spear, her javelin. Yes. Can we get that in focus? There we go. There we go, her spear. Yeah, super fun. It's gonna be awesome to put together and eventually paint. I'm gonna try to give this stuff a bunch of detail work and hopefully make it pop. That is the hope. I am by no means a master painter, but I enjoy doing it. So yeah, that's what I have ahead of me. I'm gonna finish the Raiders this upcoming week, the Jarl, the Shield Biter, and then probably the Ogres after that. And then I'll probably get into building these guys here, because I do think that you need the units prior to these guys, especially for the core game where each character can run in his warband up to 4 regiments. So, that is that for today's episode. Thanks for watching. If you haven't yet, you can check out in the description of the video down below our link to Patreon. The support that you guys give us goes directly to the channel and helps us do what we do here. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. To our Patreon members, past and present, thank you very much for the support that you guys have given already and continue to give. We appreciate that. And if it wasn't for you guys, this would be a lot harder to do. To everybody else, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, ignite your hobby.